off. Fantastic. Very nice. Thank you, everybody. That's it. We got to go. Good night.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. I love when David Letterman says, take the week off. Talking to today's guest. Let's get him on the line. Anton, are you with me?
I am.
Wonderful.
Rita.
Wonderful. I would just like to do a brief introduction, if I may, and let listeners know that musician Anton Fig, best known as being the longtime drummer for The Late Show with David Letterman, having joined the show in 1986 until Letterman's retirement in 2015. Anton has played and recorded with the world's greatest musicians, including Miles Davis, James Brown, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Mick Jagger, just to name a few. He played the Live Aid concert with the Thompson Twins, played at Bob Dylan's 30th anniversary concert, the concert for New York City for 9/11, and the countless Rock and Roll Hall of Fame awards shows. He was voted #1 Best Rock Drummer in Modern Drummers Readers Poll in 2010. Lucky for us, Anton will be performing with Oz Noy and Gary Versace this Friday at the Falcon in Marlborough. And just a warm welcome back to LocalMotion, Anton Fig.
Hi.
See, you've done a lot of stuff, Anton.
Yeah, oh, great. Well, thank you very much. That was quite a build-up. Yeah, are we talking about me?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
A lot going on. So the last time I saw you, you were in Woodstock with Robert Gordon.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we were about to go out and do another tour in, I think it was in the fall, so like September, October. And, unfortunately, he passed away right before we were going to go out.
Right.
So and that was very sad because Robert had he had a big influence on me. He was one of the first people I worked with when I came to New York.
Yeah.
And through him and his manager, I also got to work with a lot of different people. His manager at the time, Richard Goddard, did an album with Joan Armatrading, Me, Myself, I, and he got me to play drums on that, which was a great album.
Right.
And then with Robert, I played a bunch of different bands with Link Ray on guitar, and then with Danny Gatton on guitar, and then there was a band for about 2 or 3 years in New York with Chris Spedding and Tony Garnier, bass player on bass, and we were like it was a really hot modern rockabilly quartet. And Robert was absolutely fantastic musician. He knew what he wanted. He was very adamant. You couldn't really change his mind. And but he had a powerful voice, and he assembled really great bands. He's always had different good bands.
Right.
And so he was great to work with. So it was really kind of sad. And then after that, Tony and Chris Spedding and myself went out and did a little tour, just a few dates. Just sort of in remembrance of Robert.
Yeah.
So
that was really nice to see, and you guys sounded so great together. I was lucky enough to be on one of those. Just to step it back a little bit, you are from Cape Town, South Africa, and I think you grew up listening to like the British music, started drumming super early. Your parents seem to be super supportive of you. Has drums always been your only instrument, or did you ever pick up another instrument, Anton?
Well, I play a little bit of piano and a little bit of guitar, but I mean, I wouldn't be able to do any gigs, on those instruments. But I understand, what the chords are doing and stuff like that, so I can sit down on the piano and work out, chord structures of that for writing purposes.
Right.
Writing a song or writing a piece of music or trying to write a sort of score, movie score, kind of, rough ideas. I can figure it out on the piano, but I wouldn't call myself a pianist.
Yeah.
I just, I think it's important because drums are you know, you don't have to you do deal with harmony, but not in the same way as with all the scales of the other instruments. And it's important to know that and to understand what's happening in the song so that you can play properly and you know, be able to have a reasonable discussion with the other musicians about what's going on and how to navigate the different chord structures and things like that.
Right, right. So you left Cape Town and went to Boston and studied at NEC, New England Conservatory, and you studied jazz and classical there, correct?
I got into I applied for the jazz department and they accepted me into the classical. And I don't quite know how that worked. I don't think that would work today. But for some reason, I got in. So I came over and then I started to find out about the jazz department and sort of managed to work my way into that. I was just doing both streams at the same time.
Wow.
Which was amazing because I could play in the orchestra and I played in the big bands and the small, you know, big jazz bands and the small jazz bands and study with all the jazz teachers. And at the end of the day, when I finally got to graduate, they said, well, you've got, you know, all the requirements in both courses. You can have whichever degree you want.
Wow.
So I said, well, I'll take the classical one because I figured if I show up in a jazz club and say I'm gonna, I wanted to get the classical one.
Right.
So that's what I have.
That's what you did, and then you went from Boston to New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I moved down to New York. So that's always the kind of end game.
Right. Right.
Was New York.
Right. How did you meet?
And New York then. Sorry.
No, please.
New York then, you know, in the 70s when I moved down there, and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, you know, it was really a lot of stuff going on in New York, you know, especially the 70s, 80s, 90s. And it was an amazing time to be there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that New York is like the dead center that it was now. It seems like things because it got so expensive. Everything got so built up, you know, with corporations and that buying huge blocks of the city and like all the mom and pop shops being pushed out.
Yep.
And so a lot of the artists couldn't afford to live there, and a lot of like the soul of these little places, you know, was eradicated. So I'm not sure that the place still has the vibrancy that it had then, or maybe, you know, but certainly then it was unbelievable.
Yeah, good time to be there. You, of course, are also known big time affiliation with Ace Frehley. How did you two meet?
Well, I had a band with a couple of other South Africans. That we had a band in Cape Town in South Africa.
With Keith
they
Lenton.
Came overseas as well.
Right? Keith and Blondie
yeah.
Chaplin.
Well, Blondie wasn't in that. We had a band called Scully with Keith and Blondie. But before that was a band called Spider, which was a really, very, very good band. And I don't know if you can dig up any records on that, but it was a fantastic band. We had it was Keith and Amanda, and then we got Holly Knight. Holly Knight ended up writing a lot of huge songs like Simply the Best and Better Be Good to Me, and like just monster hits. And Better Be Good to Me was one of the songs that we did on our second Spider record.
Wow.
And Tina Turner took the song and, you know, did her version of it and made this enormous hit out of it.
Right.
But we were the original version.
Wow.
So I don't know if you can find the Spider records, but they are really good. There's if you do, let me know. I'll tell you what songs to play.
I will. I will. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was so anyway, when Spider was in New York, we were looking for a bass player. And the guy came in and played with us, and we ended up not using him. But he said to me, you know, I've got a friend named Ace, and he's looking for a drummer for his solo album, and I could introduce you to him. So he did, and I went up and did a bunch of demos with Ace. And then he called me up and I did another bunch of demos. And then he said, he wanted me to do his solo record.
Wow.
So we have been friends ever since. And in fact, I just did some recording for him for his new record, which hasn't come out yet. It's about to come out. And it's a classic. It sounds, the songs I heard, and I haven't heard all of them, sound just like that first record we did together. And I talked to him on the phone, and he said, "I feel like I've come full circle. It's like the '70s record that we did all over again, the first one."
Exciting!
And it did sound that way. It sounded that way to me too. So, what I have been doing is doing a lot of recording from my home studio, where I have the drum set up and Pro Tools and all the good mics and everything. And so I can send the files out to people, and then they have drums on their record.
Right.
So they send me what he had, so far, and then I added the drums to that.
Right.
And I think it came out really good, but I haven't, heard the final mixed product yet.
Oh my gosh, I look forward to it. I look forward to hearing that one.
Yeah.
So with COVID, obviously the whole world has stopped, but you seem to somehow have kept busy. Because technology allows you to do these things nowadays remotely, right?
Right. So I've done a lot of that. I've done a lot of records. It's kept me really pretty busy doing that. But at the time, I did, I did, 29 years on Letterman, and then I did another 6 years on the road, heavily on the road with this guitarist Joe Bonamassa.
Yep.
And then COVID stopped us mid-tour.
Yep.
And, the gig had just kind of run its course. So, 2 years later after COVID, I didn't play with them again.
Mm-hmm.
But it stopped everything. But during that time, I remote sessions for people. I did a short film score for someone.
That's fantastic.
And, I just kind of kept busy. It was like a pretty creative time.
Uh-huh.
And it was a weird feeling because it was like the whole world had stopped. So you didn't feel like you had to be out there pounding the pavement or doing anything.
Right.
So I was just in a very kind of creative space. I didn't have to go out much, so I spent a lot of time in my studio.
Right.
It was pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
it wasn't cool from a COVID point of view.
No.
But it was just,
In your life, in your bubble, in your world, it was okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was totally a bubble.
Now, did I read correctly that you are or were the sub for Paul McCartney's drummer during COVID?
No. What you read was, I am the COVID sub for Ringo's drummer.
Oh.
Which it was for Greg Bissonette. He called me up and he asked me to should he ever get COVID, would I be the drummer. So what you have to do is you have to learn the whole show.
Right.
So that they could call you and say, I'm sick, I've got COVID. You got to get to the gig, today or tomorrow, and you got to be able to play the gig perfectly.
Right.
So, but you might never get the call. So it turned out that Edgar Winter got COVID during the tour. Steve Lukather got COVID during the tour. Ringo got COVID during the tour. But Greg never got COVID during the tour. So it was like one of the drummers got COVID, but not the right one as far as I was concerned.
Right.
So I never got to do it. But that just finished actually a couple days ago. I've been on hold for a couple of different tours. And so I've learned the show. So I figure, well, what the hell, I'll just do it. And, if they call me, they call me. But I went on with my life. I didn't, plan for it.
Right.
But I was sort of on hold, and I really wanted to go and do it, but, either happens or doesn't.
Right, exactly. Now, Anton, you've played with so many people, like ridiculous amount of people. Is there anyone living or not living anymore that you wished or would like to still play with?
Well, I got to play with 3 of the Beatles, but I never got to play with John Lennon. So I think that would have been really nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was
3 of the
listening.
Beatles.
Funny, I was watching something, and the a version of "Jealous Guy" came on, and I was thinking, wow, it's such a cool composition.
Right.
Well, all this stuff is so cool. It would be great,
Yeah.
you know. I never got to play with let's see, I never got to play with Bob Marley or Elvis.
Mm.
I never got to play with Wayne. Wayne Shorter is still. Is he still alive? No, he just passed away.
Okay.
He just passed away.
Right.
And Joe Zawinul. I was like loved Weather Report.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I got to play with so many great people.
Oh.
Some of them, you know, a lot of them on the Letterman show. So they were just one-off. It wasn't like I did huge projects with them.
Right.
But like, for example, I got to play with James Brown a bunch of times on the Letterman show.
Oh my gosh.
I got to play with Miles Davis one time on the Letterman show, and that was unbelievable.
Oh.
You know, it was really just fantastic. And I met him. You know, I got to meet him and talk to him a little bit, and he was very complimentary. And you know, that just meant the absolute world to me. It was like, you know, okay, if I get a thumbs up from Miles Davis, it just felt like,
yeah, you're done.
That was it.
You did good. You did good.
Done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. James and Miles Davis, and my goodness, you've had so many countless memories over 29 years. Are you guys still in touch? Your bandmates of the CBS Orchestra Band?
Well, we are friends. We're not that much in touch. They actually got the whole Letterman band when they had the Grammys. The whole Fallon band, the Roots, had to go out to California to do the Grammys. So they got the whole Letterman band to be the band for the night.
Ah.
So we all got to play together. You know, as a band, this was the first time since the Letterman show.
Right.
So. So that was fun, and it was pretty much like riding a bike.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. You all kind of just picked up where you left off.
I mean, we figured we did. Like, well, I did. I wasn't there as long as Will and Paul, Orson, actually, but I did do 29 years, and I figured about 6,000 shows.
Wow.
So there's a certain amount of muscle memory that, you know, just automatically slip into that again.
Wow. And when you guys just recently got together, that was for Fallon, or was that for Colbert?
Yeah, that was for Fallon. I think that was Fallon.
Fallon.
And I think that was like a little early in the year, but not that long ago.
Right. So Fallon's on NBC. You guys were on CBS with Letterman, right?
Right, but originally we were on NBC.
Yes.
When before Letterman went to
CBS
11:30 time slot.
Yes. Yeah, and he's got a nice little Netflix series there too, Letterman.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great. I've seen a bunch of them. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. I absolutely love every time there's a new one.
He's a very smart guy, and very insightful. And so he's able to bring things out of people that able to just bring a lot out of people. You know, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. He truly is. He truly is. And I think he just has this level of comfort with people, and it kind of doesn't matter who you are. He kind of just, I don't know, people seem to trust him, and people just seem to like him. So, yeah.
They trust him and they talk to him. But, you know, and he's quite a private person, you know. But he's able to get people to open up.
Yeah, it's funny. But yet he would never do that to somebody else. So, you know, he's the private guy, but everybody else around him opens up. I remember, I can't believe it's been like, 7-8 years since you guys already stopped Letterman. It feels like yesterday, doesn't it? I
know. And you know, the funny thing is that I can't remember so much of it.
Yeah.
Because it was every day, like, you know, I would come home from the show and, like, I couldn't remember who I'd done 2 days ago. And the thing was that Letterman said the same thing. It wasn't just me. It was a common thing amongst like everyone that was doing it. But I sort of feel like the show has been distilled down to a couple of shows and a few fragments of moments.
Yeah.
Like I'll go on YouTube and I'll see something with a Letterman band playing with somebody, and I'll go, I completely forgot about that.
Right.
You know, and I wish that I'd written it down. I wish I'd written down everybody I played with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because it was like stupid. It's like I saw myself playing with a song. We played with Pete Townsend a few times.
Wow.
And I saw me playing with him, and I said, I forgot that, you know, and like that's not something I would forget because, you know, the Who and Townsend were very important to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was just amazed, like, and I thought, like, what else have I forgotten that I did,
Yeah.
you know? Because there were some really great moments, you know.
Did you have your own like dressing room when you were there all those years, I assume?
Well, I had my own dressing room, but I had to share it with the rest of the band.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Felicia had her own dressing room, and Paul had his own dressing room.
Right.
And the rest of us had a
You all
dressing room.
shared. Too bad you didn't just all like think, but you don't when you're in the moment. You don't think of it that you had a book there.
You just do it. It's not even that important. You know, you
Right.
just do it. You do the show.
Right.
And then you come in, you got to wipe the slate clean and come in for the next show.
Right.
And, you know, the Letterman show wasn't a show that you rehearsed it and then you performed it. Like, the band did the music, like, right before. The comedy people did their comedy kind of right before in another area. You know, there was different stuff happening, and then it all came together live on the show. So nobody really knew exactly what was going to happen.
Right.
And everybody was reacting. So you had to be completely focused on there. You couldn't, like, just close your eyes and play because Paul could cut the music off at any time.
Right.
And you didn't even know all the time what he was going to call. So, you know, you had to be there all the time. And then as soon as the show was over, you had to forget about it all because the next show was going to be a completely different thing.
Right. And you
So,
guys,
you know, I mean, over all that time, there was repetition. But, you know, it wasn't, certain things became second nature. It wasn't like we knew all the time. But it was different every single day.
every single day. Yeah. Yeah. Are there any shows besides James Brown and Miles Davis of Letterman's that stick out?
Yeah. On the show, I mean, Stevie Winwood was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Springsteen was fantastic. Tony Bennett was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Townsend, Pete Townsend was great. I know I'm just forgetting people. You know, I just can't, like, just when I think of it.
What do you listen to, Anton? What do you listen to nowadays? Or do you not listen to music? You're just always making it. But do you listen to music?
No, I listen to all different kinds of stuff. Like at the moment I'm reading this book on Sonny Rollins. There's a huge book out on his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening, as I'm going through the book, I'm starting to listen to some of the stuff. And then I noticed that led me to some other stuff, like Thelonious Monk.
Yeah.
And then I looked up a couple of the records and dialed them up, and, you know, I said, oh, I know this. And my father had this record.
Ah.
My dad had a lot of jazz, you know. So I was like, I know a lot of these songs. It's like, you know, one of the reasons I got to the show was because I knew a lot of the music. And somehow, even though we were isolated in South Africa, I listened to tons of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll, you know, nowadays I listen to, you know, I've got a young son who's at USC studying music.
Oh, wonderful.
And so, you know, he will tell me about stuff. And I'm just trying to think what he told me about recently.
He's a drummer also, right, Anton?
Yeah, drummer and guitar, but he can actually play guitar.
Uh-huh.
He does drums and guitar. But what did he have told me about recently? I think it was like the Lemon Twigs.
Okay.
You know that band?
No?
I didn't know them.
Uh-huh.
So they sort of like they're like Beach Boys, Brian Wilson influenced a little bit.
Okay.
And also maybe a little influenced by Oasis,
Wow.
I don't know. But anyway, that was like really pretty interesting. I go back to and listen to old stuff that I used to listen to as well. Like I went back and was listening to Keith Jarrett stuff
Right.
and like really old Miles stuff. And, you know, because I have a different kind of understanding of music now. So when I listen to it, it sounds totally different to me.
It's like you're rediscovering it.
Yeah, and you know the thing is that you know when you have Spotify or iTunes, whatever, there's so much music that it's overwhelming. You know, before we used to have our collection
Right.
and our records and stuff.
Right.
Now it's just like so. It's like I don't know. I'll kind of listen to anything
Right.
that catches my fancy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like, you know, on any one particular thing, but I am listening to stuff all the time.
That is so cool. You know what I want to talk about, Anton, which I play quite often on this show, is your release, Figments.
Well, I did it a long time ago.
You did a long time ago.
Record, but it's still great, you know?
It's totally
really
great.
A great record.
It's totally a great record, and the people you have on here is. I could stand here the rest of the show and talk about all the people you have on here. The track that I play the most is "Inside Out," which is featuring Ivan Neville on vocals, and it's got such a great beat.
Yeah, it's a cool song. It's a song that after Spider broke up, and then the singer and Amanda and I went and had a solo, like a little project. And Inside Out was a song that I wrote with someone else, and I always thought it was an amazing song. So this is like another version of it. And so on all the songs on my record, I hardly called anybody that I didn't know. I kind of knew all these people.
Right.
And I try to put the right combination of people together for the song. So, for example, that Hand on My Shoulder, Blondie Chaplin is singing, and I managed to get Brian Wilson to sing the background.
Amazing.
And, you know, Blondie sang Sail on Sailor with the Beach Boys.
Right.
So it made, like, complete sense to have them on the same thing. And the one song, I did a song where I got Ace to play a guitar solo. I got Sebastian Bach to sing it, and I got Richie Scarlett on bass, and I played drums.
Amazing.
And, you know, so it's like all had a combination. Every song had a reason for being as far as I was concerned.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it really is an extraordinary CD. I don't care how old it is. Hey, you listen to you just said you listen to your old music and you hear it different and other people's music as well. This to me is timeless, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think it really is. Thank you for saying that. But I really think the album still sounds great to me, and you know I haven't done another one because it comes down to the material first. But I just like this record so much, and I just don't sort of feel a need for doing another one right at the moment. I'm doing lots of other creative projects, but just not putting a record together.
You just mentioned earlier that you are doing a movie score. That's pretty interesting. Is that the first time you've done that?
No, I've done a few, and like you know, this one was a short movie, and it was it was actually for the Hawaiian. They wanted to do. This company did a thing which is like sailing over different parts of the world. And my friend was directing this one that had to do with Hawaii, and he wanted music, and basically it's almost like as if you're a hang glider soaring over islands of Hawaii and stuff like that. And I've got these Hawaiian singers, and I found this music, like quite sort of sacred music from Hawaii. It's almost like an unofficial national anthem. It's a serious song. And I did that, and I incorporated it, and then I wrote mostly on synthesizer and with real drums. It had to be like a long 15, 20-minute continuous piece. Like the music went for the whole thing. So it took quite a bit of work. It wasn't like the music came in and out of dialogue or anything like that.
Right.
And, so that's how I spent like the first 3 months of COVID, was pretty much doing that.
Wow. Well, and
Yeah.
I also want to say that you're going to be playing right up here in our beautiful Hudson Valley at our lovely Falcon, which you've been there
Right.
several times, with your friend Oz Noy.
Right. So I've done a few gigs with Oz lately. One was with, and it was at Ronnie Scott's
In London. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Jimmy Haslip, and it was on bass. And the reason that gig was I really wanted to do it. I mean, we flew over to London. We were supposed to do, we pretty much just did that one gig. But when I was little in South Africa, my parents would have parties, and they would have musicians come in and play. And one of the people that would come around was the guy who was the resident organist at Ronnie Scott's in London, and he would be doing a tour of South Africa. And they would, he would come and they would get local musicians and put a band together, and they'd come and play at my house.
Wow.
And I would get woken up, and I'd come down in my pajamas, and I would sit in and play a song or two with the band, and then I'd go back up and go back to sleep.
Oh, my.
So I was like really little. I must have been like 8 or something like that.
Wow.
So anyway, so Ronnie Scott's always had this like mythical kind of proportions for me. So I got to play with Oz and Jimmy, and then Gary Versace, I guess his name is, or Versace.
Versace, I think, yes.
I just met him a couple weeks ago. We did a gig. Where did we do the gig? We did a gig in Boston. And I'd never played with him before. I met him on the gig. It was Oz and him and me. And he was fantastic. I loved playing with him. He's like an incredible organ player. So, we said, okay, we'll see you again in a couple of weeks, because we'll get another crack at playing together.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
I'm really kind of excited.
Yeah. So this will be the second time.
Playing with him again.
This will be the second time the three of you together are playing. And that, of course, is happening this Friday night at the Falcon. And I mean, Anton, you've having this amazing career, had an amazing career, and still continue to be so creative and share your music. It's just amazing. All the people that you've played with and all the great laughs you gave us. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube. I hope once in a while you take time and look at it. The skits of you and David Letterman, and just funny.
Well, I had good writers.
Yeah.
They were, they made me do it. But I was happy to do it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. It's all in good fun, and what an amazing career. And I'll never forget the last maybe month or two of the Letterman show when you knew it was ending, and your posts.
Right.
And it was just it was really beautiful of you to share all that with everybody.
Yeah, on the website there's a video. On my website, I put a video. I had my camera on my tom-tom, my floor tom, and the second the show was over, the last show, I picked it up and started filming the stage, and you just see people walking around kind of shell-shocked, not quite knowing what happened, but knowing that it's the end. Right. And the next day, so you can see that, it's like a 30-second video. The next day, they tore the place apart. The drums were removed. The drum riser was gone. Everything was like it was not there anymore. And it really felt to me like a death.
Yes.
Like in the terms of you can't put it back together again. This is a life force that happened, and it's gone and will never be back.
Did you get the kit, Anton?
I got the kit. I got the kit, but you know what? And in a very rare thing, because I keep all my kits, I auctioned that one off as the final kit on Letterman. But I have all the other kits on Letterman, which I've got in, which I use actually.
Right.
I use a bunch of them. The one I toured with for 6 years, and that's already packed up, ready to go on the next tour.
Wow.
So,
wow. Amazing. Amazing. Well, to watch some of your videos and for people just to I mean, I think most people probably know you that know music anyway, but if just you're just an incredible drummer, and you're a really wonderful man, and thank you for all the music you've given us. I am so excited that you're coming back to the Falcon here, and we're so lucky to have you in such a nice intimate club, knowing you've played on these massive stages, and it's just really nice to see you in a nice little intimate venue.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to it.
Yes.
I look forward to seeing everyone.
Absolutely. And I'm going to play a couple of tracks from Figments, and I'm also going to play the James Brown one, the video that's on YouTube with you. And
okay, cool.
yeah. So we're going to have some fun with this. And just again, thank you for your
great.
time, Anton. Always a pleasure. I will see you on Friday.
Thank you for talking. Okay, I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me on the show again.
You know, it is a true honor, and it's a true pleasure. AntonFig.com. People can go to your website and the social stuff and get more familiar with everything you've done, because you've had an extraordinary career. I hope you consider writing a book, Anton, because you've got lots of stories to share.
All right. Well, I'll think about it. I can't remember them all. That's the problem. But yeah.
Well, maybe as you start writing, things will come. Oh, yeah, this happened too. So anyway, safe travels to you, and we'll see you in 48 hours. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Anton. Take care. Bye. Cheers. 91.3 WVKR, Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. It's always a good day when you get to speak to Anton Fig. AntonFig.com. He will be with Oz Noy and Gary Versace at the Falcon this Friday night. As discussed, he did a solo release. He came up with about 20 years ago. It's called Figments, and you can see it on YouTube, on his website, and all of that. I'm going to play a track from that right now, and this features Ivan Neville on vocals. Let's take a listen to this with Anton Fig on 91.3 WVKR.
Can't face the music, can't face my friends, can't face to lose it, can't face myself, and I don't wanna try to talk through the reasons that we already talked through. In my apartment, the lights are down, the record spinning, there is no sound. 'Cause I don't wanna try to dance to, won't dance to without you. It's ridiculous but true. And I don't mind telling you, and I don't mind telling you, and I don't mind telling you. Turning me inside out, turning me inside out, telling you every day without you. It's turning me inside out, turning me inside out. Still I know I must find a way to forget you. Yeah. Oh. Well, I'll make some changes. Maybe I'll cut my hair, and I'll make my face up. Maybe go out somewhere. But I don't wanna try to go to those places where we used to go. I don't wanna go without you, and I don't mind telling you, don't mind telling you, don't mind telling you. Oh, turning me inside out, turning me inside out, telling you every day without you. It's turning me inside out, turning me inside
soft. Her love is so true. I think about her. That's all that I do. She's weak as water in my arms. What moves me, darling, is a hidden charm. Who you would have, baby? Who you would have, baby? When I hold you in my arms, brings out all your hidden charm. Her kiss is so pure as a morning dew. A real gone love is exciting too. Her eyes are told, say come on. What kills me, baby, is a hidden charm. Who you would have, baby? Who you would have, baby? When I hold you in my arms, brings out all of your hidden charm.
91.3 WVKR, Joe Bonamassa. Hidden Charms. That was at Red Rocks with today's guest, Anton Fig, on drums. He was with Bonamassa, played and recorded with him and toured with him about 6 years. Today's guest, Anton Fig. You can visit his website and see some amazing material that he's worked on. Really, an extraordinary career. And that is not an exaggeration. We also heard a track from his solo release. Anton released a solo release called Figments. And we heard the track Inside Out, featuring Ivan Neville on vocals, Randy Brecker on flugelhorn, Adam Holtzman on keyboards, Will Lee bass, Joe Caro on guitar, and Catherine Russell on background vocals. AntonFig.com. Figments is the name of that track. And let's play another one from David Letterman and The Late Show. Anton, of course, being the drummer, the house drummer for 29 years. Now, that's a good run. And this is, I think, one of his favorite peoples to play with during that time and on the show. He always talks about James Brown and Miles Davis. And I found on YouTube a James Brown video with Anton. So I want to share this one with you. Let's take a listen to this right here, right now on 91.3.
How do you do? Welcome back to the program. Ladies, nice to see you. Nice to see you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here. What an organization, what a group. And also, this is interesting, the same people, I believe this is true, who made those costumes also made the P-Boy suit. I look into that. Our next guest has just released his 79th album. I have a copy of it right here. 79. It's called Universal James, and tomorrow night he will be appearing right here in New York City, across the street at the beautiful Radio City Music Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the hardest working man in show business, James Brown.
91.3 WVKR, independent radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. James Brown on the David Letterman Show with today's guest, Anton Fig, being the drummer on that. So cool. So many great videos like that. Just, search for them on YouTube. Better yet, go see Anton Fig perform live with